Nadhim Zahawi is leaving Parliament, and probably not without time, not before time. Uh, he was at one time the Chancellor. He's also the man who was found after he'd been Chancellor that while he was Chancellor, he had failed to declare all the tax that was due, and that he tried to squirrel away stuff and pay back what little he needed quietly, on the sly, while nevertheless managing our affairs. And when he was caught out by Dan Neidle, this extraordinary forensic accounting journalist, I'm not quite sure how he's to be defined, but he's a man with bite. Dan Neidle was then threatened with legal action. And the letter is very interesting. The letter says, "Dear Sir," this was in October last year, the year before actually, "Dear Sir, we're writing to you on behalf of our client, Mr Nadhim Zahawi, regarding a tweet from the account at Dan Neidle posted on the 14th of October 2022 at 12:33, together with subsequent tweets from the same account located on the same thread, a screenshot of which we attach to this email." The tweet. The tweet contains false and misleading allegations against our client, who is not aware of any investigation by the National Crime Agency or His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, and you have not provided evidence of any such investigation. We therefore request that you remove the tweet from the publication as soon as possible to prevent the spread of misinformation to the public. The tweet is defamatory at common law and, if its publication were to continue, would seriously damage our client's reputation pursuant to Section 1 of the Defamation Act 2013. Well, by that time, I believe Mr. Zahawi was aware that there was a problem with his tax returns. It is in them, though nobody else knew. And that, of course, is the issue under British law about libel. It's about whether or not anybody else knew. It is in the interests of all parties to resolve this issue without the need for court involvement, and we therefore request that you remove the tweet from publication as soon as possible, and in any event within 48 hours of receipt of this letter. Please provide confirmation once this has been done. We thank you in advance for your assistance to resolve this matter. Our client reserves all his rights and remedies. Yours faithfully, ACK Media Law, LLP. Well, there you are. There you have it. That's the threat. And it's quite a serious threat, and I think I would be intimidated. And yet, at the same time, Nadhim Zahawi did have to pay back a huge amount, millions of pounds, because he tried to fiddle the system. He'd been found out. He'd tried to pay back a small amount of that secretly. He's ended up having to pay significantly more, and he lost his job. But he retained his office as an elected member of the House of Commons, as an honourable man, an honourable member. How on earth can he be honourable when he's been caught diddling, when he's caught effectively with his hand in the till, when he's had the highest office in the land short of the Prime Minister, and he's not up to the job? Now, it doesn't matter what we may think. Oh my goodness, Nadhim Zahawi, this refugee who came over here from Iraq and has made good, has done so well. We should be saluting him. Yes, love to salute him, and yet he's been caught with his hand in the till. And yet he remains in the House of Parliament. He's only now declared that he's going to resign at the next election because he sees the way the land is lying, doesn't think he's going to get elected again, I suspect. And he's right. And he wants to go before he's humiliated in a Portillo moment at the general election at the count. He's right there as well, of course. But he is wrong not to have resigned when this matter came to a head, particularly when we can call out people like George Henderson. You may not even know who George Henderson is, but George Henderson had ticked the wrong box when he applied for carer's allowance, because he was advised to apply for carer's allowance, and I think he'd been doing something else at that point, and he made a gain of 30 pence per week, and everything has been clawed back because he ticked the wrong box. Simply human error. Nadhim Zahawi could say, human error, not criminal. Human error. In fact, I think that's exactly what he did say. Human error. An oversight. An oversight of many millions is a significantly different oversight to an oversight of 30 pence per week. But the oversight of 30 pence per week cost George Henderson his house. He was dragged through the courts because of 30 pence per week. And, of course, that payment that he was made effectively under the aegis of number 11 of the Treasury, wasn't it? The thing that Nadhim Zahawi, for a short period, controlled. And when you look at this on the one hand and that on the other, you can look at them and us. And it's not a pretty picture, is it? If you're in the House of Commons, if you've got power, if you've got the ear of authority, you get away with it. And if you're just an ordinary Joe or Mark Henderson, you don't. You're dragged through the courts. If you whistle blow, if you say something is wrong, what happens to you? You lose your job. There's 1,000 doctors at the moment gathering together in Wimpole Street for a conference and for what will be the first stage in something that will imitate the post office and Alan Bates's extraordinary achievement in gathering people together. But I have met many doctors, I have met many people in the NHS who have blown whistles, as they are instructed to, by the way, and their lives have been turned upside down, they've been dragged through the courts, or even when they've tried to go through the courts to try and get some sort of compensation for losing their jobs, the courts have suddenly closed. The case is closed. The case is finished. No, it doesn't happen. No, it's not happening. They haven't been informed. Somehow the system works against ordinary people. And Keir Starmer, who was part of that system, by the way, is he promising to change that? Is that one of his 6 pledges? Is it hell? This is the pledge that should form the backbone of any suitable candidate for Prime Minister in the next general election. It should be a pledge for honesty and transparency and clarity in the way we do business among ourselves in our little community in Britain and the way we do business abroad. When we say something, when we give our word, that should be a fact. There should be no difference between the rhetoric and the reality. These two things should come together when we give our word, but that is not the case. And you only have to look, or you only have to talk to people who are still suffering from the Windrush compensation promises. You only have to talk to people who are still suffering from the haemophilia blood-infected promises. You only have to talk to people in the post office now. You only have to talk to people who have blown whistles about the mismanagement, the huge mismanagement of the NHS. And you know that we are not living in a society that is predicated on honour where my word is my bond. No, we are living in a society where the words that people in authority use do not have the same meaning that is recorded in the Oxford English Dictionary. And there is a simple word to describe that. It's called deceit or lies.